Okay, this problem is called compare two linked lists. So they will give us the head of the two linked lists, and they might be null. And the two linked links are not necessarily the same length. So one of them might be longer. Um, there is a recursive solution, but I will show you the iterative one. So what I will do, I will try to explain it as much as I could. So first thing, I need to check if the list one and list two is not null. So what I will do, so if list one and list two, if they are not null and the data is equal, so list one dot data equal list two dot data, then I only need to do just to, the only thing I need to do now is just to traverse next in the list, in each list, and at the end I need to return list one free equals list two. So what I'm doing, let me just submit it and I will try to explain it. So if they are equal, you need to return true. If they are not equal, you need to return false. So it's true, but I will show you when this finished. So what I'm saying, this while loop will break in two conditions, two cases. The first case, if list one and list two, so not two cases, there's a multiple cases. So first case, if list one and list two is undefined, um, this while loop we won't enter it, and this here, this condition will compare null with null, and it's true, so it will return true. And another case, when I am traversing through the data and the data property inside each node are equal to each other, but at some point list one or list two is longer than the other list, so one of them will reach the null value before the next one, before the other one, and this will break also the loop. And here we will compare an object with a null and will return a false. So this is the second case, when we break out of the loop, when one of them is longer than the another. The third case, when the data does not equal to each other, we will just come here and compare the two linked lists, and comparing two objects in JavaScript will always return false in most cases. It depends on how these two objects are initialized. So I will just show you an example. So if I defined a constructor function called R, and this constructor function just has a property, and it's always hard, it's hard coded, it's always, the name is Polo. So if I created a value, so const qq equal new R, and the qq is an instance of R with a name Polo, and another variable called pp is new R as well. And if I, so they both at the surface appears to be the same object, but if I compare them, they are not, because they are not referencing the same object behind the scenes. So this is, I'm just saying, if this, in this case, if the data is not equal, it just will break out and compare two objects which does not point to the same object behind the scenes, and this will return a false. So the only way we will return it true is if we traverse through the two linked lists and they were both the same length, and they were both, each node of them contains the same data. At the end, they will both be null, since we will reach list one dot next will return a null, list two dot next will return also null. We will break out of the loop. The OR function will compare null with null, will return true. So it works. I hope I explained it correctly. To be honest, the recursive function, I didn't understand it correctly, and I find it a little bit confusing. But I will try to learn it, but I won't record video for it.